John Wick Chapter 2 is the second chapter of the book adaptation of the movie John Wick. Here's my favorite excerpt. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Gut shot. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Foot shot. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Keanu Reeves looking badass. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Knife stab. Headshot, headshot. Foot shot. Headshot. Headshot, headshot, headshot. Headshot. John Wick Chapter 2 is the sequel to the 2014 movie John Wick. Once again, stars Keanu Reeves as the titular badass John Wick. Behind the camera, Chad Stahelski returns, or however the fuck you pronounce that guy's name. The other director didn't come back, at least not as director. I think he's a producer. Also back is Ian McShane and the dude from the poor man's version of The X-Files, Fringe. I'm gonna recycle my jokes from the first review. New to this movie are Ruby Rose, Common, and Ricardo Scamarcio, also known as the guy you're going to want to punch in the face for the entire runtime of this movie because he plays a fucking dick really well. This movie picks up almost exactly where the last one left off, and it kind of rides on the coattails of that story. So it's a new thing. It's the new reason for him to do what he does, but the emotional punch is kind of lacking. They try to connect it to the first one to kind of carry some of that same weight, but it just doesn't. Really, I don't know how you top somebody killed my recently deceased wife's gift that was a puppy. Somebody killed my new puppy, and I don't know how you top that, at least for emotional weight. So that's the biggest negative the movie really has. It just doesn't have that catharsis when he's killing everybody. In the first one, you're like, oh, they killed a fucking puppy. Yeah, just fucking shoot him in the head. Yeah. This one, you're like, yeah, shoot him in the head, it's awesome, but it's not, like, cathartic. You're not happy. Well, you're happy because it looks cool and because it's a good action movie, but you're not happy because, a dog died. Oh, that's a weird way to phrase that. Speaking of the action, it flows perfectly from the original. Everything is very much in the same style. Even the subtitles are really done in a very similar style. So, stylized. They're different size fonts, different colors. They're really kind of cool looking and keep it interesting. The fight scenes are very well staged and very well choreographed and well fucking shot. You actually see what's going on in this movie. It's kind of amazing to look at. And you can look at the videos online. Keanu Reeves is doing most of the stuff, if not all. I think probably not all, but most of it. He knows how to handle his weapons. He knows how to handle the stunts. And this movie may actually improve on the first one. The first one had a lot of great gun fights, but not as much hand-to-hand. This one, I think there's more hand-to-hand. And so it's kind of a more well-balanced overall action movie. So I think it might top the original. And there's one scene, probably past the halfway point, a little bit past the halfway point of the movie, where he's just going after so many people and he's using different weapons, and I guess I don't want to really spoil it, because it's awesome. The music is also very similar to the first. It didn't really seem as memorable to me as the first movie did, but that might just be because it's kind of more of the same, which isn't really a negative. I like that its sequel actually feels like a continuation of the first movie instead of going off on some tangent, but it didn't really make as much of an impact to me. One thing they did really well, though, is they expanded on the world building. In the original, they go to this hotel, the Continental, and there's these rules, you pay with gold coins, and it's really interesting, this whole weird subculture for assassins, and they expand on that tenfold in this movie, and it is really, really interesting what they're doing with it. The whole world building they're doing is kind of amazing. It's like a comic book movie without the baggage of actually being a comic book movie. They can do their own thing, forge their own path, and it just feels like this whole separate world. Later on in the movie, there's certain scenes and certain things that happen with just the proportion of assassins to normal people that kind of push the limits of of this world, but I only thought about that after the fact. In the midst of it, it didn't bother me. It was just an awesome, I don't want to say thrill ride, because that makes me sound like a hack critic. Well, I guess I did say it. It's like a thrill ride. So again, John Wick Chapter 2 has some great action in it. It's very well shot, very well choreographed, and even probably more varied and maybe even a little better than the original, which is no small feat. The emotional weight behind the story isn't quite as good, and it kind of rides on the coattails of its predecessor a little bit to try to carry the emotional weight to the movie. So it does suffer a little bit for that. But the world building it does in this movie, the way it kind of expands the whole assassin world that John Wick lives in, it's kind of amazing that it managed to be as good as it is. Now, I can't say it's as good as the original, but it is just a little below it. As soon as I finished watching the movie, I just wanted to watch it again. John Wick Chapter 2 is rated B+. So given that John Wick is kind of a smaller action movie that got a proper sequel, and one that actually lived up to the original, name an action movie that you would like to get a sequel that hasn't seen one. I actually have two answers for this one. One is Edge of Tomorrow, also called Live, Die, Repeat, also originally was called All You Need Is Kill. That movie is fucking awesome. It's like Groundhog Day with exosuits and just fucking murder and battle scenes, and it's awesome. Tom Cruise, it's one of the best movies he's put out in years. Another one, though, is a movie that came out in the early 2000s, 2005-ish, maybe? It's called Shoot 'Em Up. It stars Clive Owen and Monica Bellucci and Pig Vomit from Private Parts. That movie was just a balls to the wall, kind of like, if you ever see Crank, it's similar to that, where it's just way over the top, but immensely entertaining. That movie never got a sequel. It didn't really seem to get much of a following either. But I think that's an awesome movie. So either one of those really should get sequels. Shoot 'Em Up more so, though, because that one actually leaves itself more open for a sequel than Edge of Tomorrow, which actually kind of has a good ending. But there's still plenty to expand on in that world. And either one of them should have sequels. Both of them deserve it, and Edge of Tomorrow actually has a shot of having one. Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise have both expressed interest. So anyway, name an action movie that you think should have a sequel. Make your mark below in the comments section. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bonus review. This is Saranac, or this was, a little bit left, Saranac S'more beer. It's a porter, and it's actually pretty damn good. And at first, it's not quite as full as you'd think it would be. So it almost feels like it's a watered down version of itself. But that just kind of lends it to you being able to finish it. Because if it was as sugary as a s'more beer could taste, you would get sick to your stomach before you finished it. But anyway, it actually tastes really good. And you kind of go through all the fucking different things. It's like, it weirdly brings you through all the levels. And it doesn't feel like somebody put them in a blender. It kind of feels like you just drink them in parts. It's really weird to explain, but it's actually pretty damn good. So again, Saranac S'more beer. If you guys want to sponsor me, that'd be sweet. If not, I'll probably still drink you anyway. Saranac S'more beer. When you don't want to make a fire, but you still want to feel like a kid, but you also still kind of want to get drunk, s'more beer. I'll have s'more, please, because it means some more. John Wick Chapter 2 is the sequel to the 2014 movie John Wick. New to this movie are Ruby Rose, Common, and Ricardo Scamarcio? And Ricardo Scamarcio. New to this movie, Scamarcio? Scamarcio. And Ricardo Scamarcico, or fucking Scamarcico, Scamarcio? Maybe? I don't know. Later on in the movie, they kind of do more hand-to-hand comment and more very can't kill a puppy and get away with it. Nobody kills a puppy. I don't think fucking Jason Voorhees even kills dogs. And runs back at the end. It's like, hey, everything's fine. That's a tangent.